I know. I'm
All right,
thinking.
now you can start.
No, I'm trying to figure out where I was and what I was talking about, and maybe I got a fart. Um, Nova get back to this universe. Now that's in 2010. So when we pick up the Guardians of the Galaxy again, in
Yeah, picking up with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got it. So we pick up with the Guardians of the Galaxy there in here in 2015, and everyone's alive. Peter Quill's alive. Drax is alive. Thanos is alive. But there's no explanation as to how they got back. They're just here. And Nova isn't. And there's this even is angry. The first thing she's angry about is that Peter Quill saved Thanos. Now let's talk about this a second. If you let's just compare him to Hitler. All right. If you were like trapped in a room with Hitler and you're going to escape the room and you have the option of bringing Hitler or not bringing Hitler with you, and you bring Hitler with you, and then he's responsible for X number of millions of deaths, aren't you responsible for those deaths also? Well, that's kind of what Peter Quill did. And that's what Gamora blames him for. You want to know why Gamora's so mad? Because when Peter Quill escaped from the Cancerverse, he brought Thanos back. She doesn't care the reason. She doesn't care the how, the why. She doesn't care. She should have left him there. Nova got left there, and Thanos didn't. That's all Gamora cares about. Period. That's all she cares about. And you can figure a way to leave Nova and not leave Thanos, dude, it's Gamora. She's got a temper. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you know. So there's one of your plots going. The next is, why didn't Peter Quill kill Thanos while he was there? So they leave this dangling for a couple of years until you get to Guardians of the Galaxy 18, 19, and 20, which happens to be Original Sin. So it just kind of falls in place. And when the book opens, it's pretty entertaining because Gamora's has Peter Quill tied up, insisting to know what happened. And she's got him tied up with knives, ready to cut him apart piece by piece until he explains how the three of them escaped and Richard Rider didn't. And
knives.
Yeah, and knives. It's pretty entertaining. And Peter Quill begins over the next 3 issues to explain what happened, which they expected it. Peter Quill, and this is how the Thanos Imperative ends, is Peter Quill and Nova expected it to be a suicide mission. They expected to stay in the Cancerverse as it imploded on itself with Thanos, and they all three died. Thanos died, Peter Quill died, Richard Rider died. That's what they expected to happen. Instead, what happened was it's the Cancerverse, so every time they died, they were resurrected. And then they would die, and they would be resurrected. And they would die, and they would be resurrected. And oh, by the way, they had a cosmic cube. So every time they died, they woke up fighting over a cosmic cube. So suddenly, there's no food. They're hungry. They're starving to death. You know, Richard Rider lost an arm along the way. You see where this is going. You know, Drax is having the time of his life. Somebody kills me, just wakes up, fights again. Drax is having the time of his life, but it's not. You know, Peter Quill is faced with, oh my God, this is a freaking disaster, and because it's not killing Thanos, it's this eternal hell that they've trapped themselves in. Oh, by the way, the Revengers survived. So they've got all these Avengers that keep coming at them, and they're having to fight these Avengers off. And you know, Thanos is half the time he's with them, and half the time he's against them because they're having to fight all these zombie-like Avengers with them. And finally, Nova is, and it's kind of it's really the storytelling doesn't work. You just kind of got to roll with it because it's a comic book. But finally, Nova makes this sacrifice where he takes the cosmic cube and he essentially takes it and the thing is, cosmic cubes, as we're learning with Kobik, don't exactly work the way people think they do. You don't just hold it and make a wish.
Right.
Okay, you gotta know how to control it. And part of Peter Quill's problem was he couldn't exactly control it the way he wanted to. And Thanos kept insisting if they just give it to him, he would make it work properly. Well, nobody wants to give Thanos a cosmic cube. And finally, Richard Rider's like, look, I got this. And he just takes the cube and sends the three of them out. Just sends them out and just leaves himself in the Cancerverse, which is how Guardians of the Galaxy 18, 19, and 20 end. And that's how the story wraps up, is he sends them out, and in theory, Richard Rider dies. Now, obviously, we now know he didn't die, that he stayed alive in the Cancerverse, and he's now there. So that's the story of the Thanos Imperative. Okay, that's what happened. And those three issues, they're in Guardians of the Galaxy series 2015, issues 18, 19, and 20. I want to say it's volume 4. I lost count of how many volumes of Guardians of the Galaxy there had been. They were actually pretty good. This whole read was good. It was just longer than I expected and more in depth than I expected, trying to cram it in over like a day and a half or 2 days.
Right. You expected 6 quick issues and got way more than you thought.
Yeah, it was actually really good. But so you now realize, okay, this is why Gamora is mad at Peter Quill. This is why Drax is mad at Peter Quill, because they both wanted Thanos dead. This is why a lot of people are mad at Peter Quill, because Thanos is back in the 616 universe when they feel Peter Quill should have just left him there to die. Richard Rider is having problems in the Nova issue. I think this week we're going to review Nova number 5 or Nova 6, something like that. And what he has essentially done is brought the Cancerverse into the 616 universe. Because he is essentially infected with the Cancerverse. He didn't just come back whole. He came back really sick and half crazy because he's been in the Cancerverse for years. And he didn't just leave it. Matter of fact, the Cancerverse has infected the Xandar Nova World Mind. So now the World Mind's crazy because the Cancerverse has infected it. There's some plot lines here in 2017 that are affected by what happened in these storylines. And it's really a good read. It's a very good read. Good art too, man. Really good art in that Thanos Imperative. Andy Lanning did it, and really good art.
Yeah, so if you're wondering what's going on with Nova and want to catch up with what all the cosmic characters have been doing, this is probably a good place to start.
Absolutely.
If you've really gotten into them recently and you want to read a good story with all of them, this is where to go.
This is absolutely where to go. Yeah, it was good. Cool. With a cast of thousands.
It's a lot of characters.
Yes, it was a lot of characters. I mean, you just be sitting there like, oh, well, there's Galactus on that page. Oh, wait, there's Eternity. He only got a panel in the whole series. Oh, okay. Dude, it was seriously, man. It was a lot of people.
Cool.
Yep. So anyway, I'll have all the notes up on the website, which is www.6monthsbehind.com. You can email us about it at
6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
And in a few days, we're going to have another What's Next up on Avengers Forever. We look forward to talking to you then.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
Okay. All right. Hopefully I can stitch those two together.
If not, we'll do it again this weekend.
Nah, man, I can edit one half and stick it to the other half. That won't be a big deal. All right. I'm deciding whether I need to go pee or not.
No, I'm waiting on the Percocet to kick in.
You got another headache?
Dude, on day 2, man.
Oh, man. How long you been without one?
Weeks.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, isn't it? You don't have one for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and
then you get one out of the blue, man. I don't know why.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, man, it's all good.
All right.
Back.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we doing?
Avengers Forever.
Okay.
All right. You can do the intro.
Hang on, I got to get back to the top of it so I can remember the thing. Find Avengers Forever so I actually know what we're talking about. All right, when are we going to do another one of these?
I don't know. We got two. I was going to post one this weekend, then another one next weekend. So,
okay,
or wait 2
then
weeks.
come
That's
back.
up to you.
And then come, I tell you what, yeah, well, let's do, post one now, post one in about a week, and then come back in 2 weeks, right?
Right. Yeah. We had it top loaded so that it'd give us a little space to do something else.
Right. All right. Who's going to do the next one, you or me?
I say we both prepare one and we'll figure it out. I was going to continue with my X-Men stuff.
Okay. Works for me. I'll find something else.
Okay.
Count it down when you're ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hello again. This is the What's Next podcast. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
We're the guys from the 6 Months Behind podcast, here to bring you deeper inside the Marvel Unlimited universe, taking you on a 5-year mission to points never explored before. How about that? I was trying to remember the intro to Star Trek, man. What is it? A 5-year?
A 5-year mission to go where no man has gone before?
Yeah, there you go. I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
See, I don't get to watch Star Trek Discovery, so it's...
I was about to ask, you watching Star Trek Discovery? I guess you're not, are you?
I'm not, man. I'm not paying $8 a month to watch it.
Dude, that show's so good. It's really good now, and it's only 5 episodes in. It has got some serious potential. These characters, developing them, and what you can do with them, and what you can do with these stories. I really hope they continue to do it, because in 3-4 seasons, you're going to have a really good show on your hands.
Well, CBS has got the money invested in it, so I assume they're going to.
Yeah, and that's why I'm paying $8 a month. Well, it's not even 8; it's like 6. But
yeah, there you go.
Because I want to keep more of this.
Yep. Anyway, we're here to discuss other things besides Star Trek and what comes out every week in Marvel Unlimited. This week, we're discussing Avengers Forever, the classic read by Kurt Busiek. I'm trying to remember this dude's first name.
And Roger Stern.
Well, Pacino. Golly, I just butchered it and I can't remember it. Anyway, from
Carlos
about a decade ago. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
When we get through the notes for this, everything that I just butchered will be on the web, w6monthsbehind.com, or you can email us your comments at
6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. You can also tweet at us at 6monthsbehind.
There you go.
Yeah, so we've been reading this Kang Wars story in the main Avengers title the last few weeks. And I really like Kang. He's probably one of my favorite classic Avengers villains. And so I thought, let's go back and find and do a deep dig, do some crate digging and find a really good Kang the Conqueror story. And I looked through a few different things, and then I came upon this. It was a 12-issue limited series published in December of 1998 through November 99. And in a lot of ways, it ties into not just what's going on in this Kang Wars Avengers story that we've been reading, but also what's going on in the larger Marvel universe right now. I mean, it deals with, Rick Jones is one of the main characters. So here's what I'm going to do, because it's totally worth your time to read, but it's a bit dense. It's the kind of story where you have to really read the whole thing from beginning to end. So what I'm going to do is detail the first issue, and we'll go from there. Assuming my app will open the book. There we go. So first we get this prologue of some faraway alien planet. And it's actually dang it, what's the dude's name from Guardians of the Galaxy with the mohawk and the arrow and the
Yondu.
Yeah, it's whatever planet Yondu's from. And it's way off in the future. These like robot Avengers show up and basically destroy the planet. And that's your prologue. Back in our normal timeline, the Avengers have arrived on the blue area of the moon, where they have brought who I thought was dead, but apparently he's just a critically ill Rick Jones, to the Supreme Intelligence, the Kree Supreme Intelligence. And they're essentially asking him, hey, can you help us heal him? We need somebody to make him better, because something to do with the Destiny Force. I'm not really sure how Rick Jones ended up like this, but he did. So they leave Rick Jones in the care of the Kree Supreme Intelligence. And suddenly time freezes, and Immortus has sent Tempest to kill Rick Jones. Meanwhile, Kang the Conqueror shows up to stop Tempest from killing Rick Jones. Now, if you don't know, Immortus is a future version of Kang the Conqueror. And so Kang summons this army, and there's this massive battle in front of everybody in this space of a second, because they've frozen time. And essentially what happens is the Avengers get pulled into this war between Kang and Immortus over the Destiny Force, which is the real issue at hand here. And the Avengers take the side of Kang because they're trying to save their friend Rick Jones. And Kang actually goes and grabs a bunch of the Avengers from different points in time. I mean, you get Captain America, who has just finished fighting the Secret Empire. And if you're going, wait a minute, Secret Empire is happening right now, there's actually been a bunch of Secret Empires. He goes and grabs Hank Pym, his Yellow Jacket, from a time where he's really mentally unstable. They grab Hawkeye from directly after the Kree Skrull War. They go and grab Giant Man, who's also Hank Pym, who's the present day Giant Man, and Songbird, and as well as Captain Marvel. And so Kang has picked all of these different Avengers from these different timelines, or not timelines, but different points in time, in order to make up his Avengers team and fight off Immortus. And they go through the various eras in time, and they encounter the Two Gun Kid and Knight Rider and Kid Colt and the Gunhawks and a bunch of alternate versions of themselves. They run into the Agents of Atlas at one point. But they also happen to find out that at some point in time, because Rick Jones possesses the Destiny Force, the humans establish what they call a warlike Terran empire, where it's essentially an interstellar dictatorship policed by the Galactic Avengers Battalion. And that's what we saw in the beginning, the very beginning opening of the first issue. So the whole point of this is for these Avengers to team up with Kang to stop Immortus and to prevent this future timeline where they become essentially dictators and murderers of the galaxy. And yeah, man, it's actually really good. The dialogue is good, especially for something written, back in the late 90s. The art is good. It's a really good Kang story. It has a lot of time travel and kind of the dynamic between Kang and Immortus, which is essentially the dynamic between himself and how they're kind of always at odds with one another. Yeah, man, it was really good. I enjoyed it. It was, if you like Kang the Conqueror like I do, if you like really in-depth Avengers stories, this is where you want to go. And it's only 12 issues, so you don't have to read a ton of stuff leading up to it or that comes after it. It's kind of its own self-contained story.
Dude, what a convoluted mess.
It is a little convoluted, yeah.
Holy cow. Okay. I just kind of scanned some of the issues as you were talking, and dude. Okay.
Yeah, it's, if you want something a little more in depth than just your typical Avengers story, this is it.
And is this canon, or is this just kind of an alternate timeline thing?
No, it's canon.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Sounds like a good read, man.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And it was, I've enjoyed this Avengers series that we've been reading with Kang. So if you want more of that, this is very much like that.
Good. Very good.
So that'll pretty much do it for Avengers Forever. If you want to email us and tell us what you thought, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. We'll probably have the notes on the website for this.
www.6monthsbehind.com.
Yeah. So that'll do it for this week, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
It was probably a little short, but whatever.
Yeah, it's about 10 minutes.
It'll do.
That's fine. Well, we changed the order on that thing so that Uncanny Avengers comes before is Steve Rogers
Huh?
on the notes for this week. I'll pull it up real quick. I'll do it.
Oh, you okay? Wait, what?
Just don't post the notes yet.
Okay.
Who are we this week?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, done. You want to throw them up there? You want me to?
You can go ahead.
Sure, I got everything. Yeah, I got it. Boo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Let's see. No, I don't know where the notes are because no, wait, maybe it's there. No, I don't know where our note section is. It didn't give me a sidebar this time. Sometimes when I go in, it doesn't give me a sidebar. I just got to work off that page.
If you'll hit Control B, your chat window will open.
Control. Well, okay. It just popped up there.
Yeah, because I posted something.
Okay, so I hit what? Control what?
Control
Say
B.
V or B? B,
B
as in boy.
boy. Yeah.
Thank you. There we go. Okay. And away we go. Okay. Anything for discussion this week?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm reading about how Good People Brewing Company just bought Avondale Brewing Company, which is I don't know how they did that. I mean I understand why. You're essentially purchasing your competition. I mean they just acquired their biggest competitor in the state. But 2 days ago I read a story that Avondale had sold to another company, so I don't know what's going on. That's nuts. Do you have anything for discussion? Because I do not. We don't necessarily have to discuss anything.
No. Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nope. By the way, you were yawning at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You need to mute your mic when you do that.
I mute my mic all the time.
Okay, well, at some point you didn't because I heard your yawns. Which I don't care.
Okay.
I just don't want everybody else hearing you.
Okay.
If I bore you, it's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm okay.
Well, you cough a lot, and don't mute your mic. So,
Dude, I do my best, man. I try. I swear to God, I try.
I understand.
It's like I'm never congested until we hit record.
Dude, I've been there.
It's like the moment we hit record, suddenly I'm congested and coughing and hacking. I'm ready when you are, by the way. I'm waiting on you.
Somebody had told me that the Mellow Mushroom downtown had closed, and that cannot be the case. Okay, I'll look at this later. All right, close that. Close that. Who are we this week?
I don't know.
If we had absolutely no taste, we could be Rose McGowan and Harvey Weinstein, but that'd probably be terrible.
A lot of people are getting in trouble for those jokes.
I know. That's why I didn't seriously suggest it. Oh, we could be, I don't know, Gus Malzahn and Dabo Swinney, because they both lost this week. Although a lot of people lost this week.
Yeah, we've done football too many times.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
We could be Cheech and Chong or the dudes from Lost in Space, because we have no idea where we're going or what we're doing.
Who are the dudes from Lost in Space?
I don't know. You had the robot dude and the old man and the little boy, and it was Timmy. Wasn't it Timmy? Danger, Will Rogers.
No, Will Robinson.
Will Robinson. Oh, yeah. A stupid robot and that old man who's always scheming against him.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What do you want to do?
I do. Yeah, we're just gonna be Cheech and Chong and wing it.
Okay.
I'll scratch it off the list.
Okay. Hang on.
Sure. I've cleared all night for you, man.
Okay. Sorry, I had to answer a text message.
Okay.
Dude, my aunt called me earlier. She and I have talked 4 times today. There's just no need in her and I having another conversation today. There just isn't. Okay. All right. You ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 months behind podcast for the week of 10/9/17. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
We're here to bring you another week of wonderful comics from the Marvel Unlimited app. This week, we're just Cheech and Chong, just rolling down the road with smoke, blowing out our computers and iPhones and our iPads because we just have no idea what we're doing or where we're going. We're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, man. I'd be better if my team hadn't lost for no reason this week, but
There was a reason, but no one cares.
yeah, it's because Gus Malzahn's an idiot.
That's the short answer. Yes.
Yeah. But a lot of teams lost this week, so I can't be too upset.
They didn't drop out into 25. They're still at number 21.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah. We won't bore you guys with football talk for once this week. If you want to email us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That is the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website's www.6monthsbehind.com, where there's all kinds of stuff there. There's going to be more stuff, but soon, the Thanos Imperative, What's Next will be up there. What's Next is our other podcast where we explore other items that you can peruse in the Marvel Unlimited app. Besides what comes out every week, we dive deeper into the app where you can find things. And I thought I was just going to read 5 or 6 issues of the Thanos Imperative. And, then we'd record a podcast real quick. And I got to diving into that thing. And it had like a cast of thousands, and the 6 issues became like 10 or 12 issues. And it took up my whole weekend as I'm reading notes or writing notes and, reading Wikipedia pages and trying to get it all written down and keep it remembered. And it became a fiasco, man. So I'm a little slow, a little behind on the website, but I'll get there.
Yeah, it'll be there eventually.
Yes.
And you can also hit us up on Twitter at 6monthsbehind. Yeah, we actually have gotten around to recording another episode of What's Next.
Yes.
We'd gotten a little behind on that show for a little bit. We had you and I both had a bunch of stuff going on and just hadn't been able to do it. So we are going to get back into the regular routine of posting What's Next.
Yep.
We do discuss spoilers on this show. We are going to talk about a lot of spoilers because we're getting closer and closer to the main Secret Empire.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, a lot of those. If you have not read those or don't want to be spoiled, pause now. Come back later. We'll be here when you're done.
I'm excited. I'm excited to read Secret Empire itself again, and all the what do you call it, the books that go along with it? I want to say auxiliary books, and that's the word.
Tie-ins.
There's the tie-ins. There's a better word for it, but yeah, all the tie-ins that go with it. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm hyped, man. I know you're not.
We'll see.
Okay. What you think of the 2 books this week? Mainly Steve Rogers number 15.
It was fun.
It wasn't great. It was all right, but it was okay. Yeah, it wasn't great. Here's the thing. There's a lot that happens in Secret Empire number 0, and there's like little pieces of it, and there've been pieces of it scattered out along the way. But I kept looking for these big moments leading up to Secret Empire number 0, and I haven't really seen them. They're just not there. I guess we're just going to blow it open and, Well, anyway, we'll talk about a couple of them when we get to Captain America 15. So, we had good books this week, by the way. There wasn't really a terrible book in this group.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm reading this.
There's a Deadpool book, but there was nothing really disastrous. So it was a good week, man. It was a very good week.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I was happy. So we begin with Uncanny Avengers number 22.
Yeah.
Last week, after I don't even know how many years has it been since Axis? They finally caught the Red Skull, and the Beast is getting ready to perform emergency brain surgery and remove the part. I guess he's got 2 brains in there, man. I don't even know. Anyway, somehow Beast is going to separate Professor Xavier's brain from Steve Rogers' brain. or excuse me, well, it really is Steve Rogers' brain because the Red Skull is a clone of Steve Rogers, but that's beside the point. And he's got his brain in Steve Rogers' body, but that's, now we're really getting into deep water. But anyway, the Beast is going to separate Professor Xavier's brain from his. By that time, Captain America shows up, and he wants the brain, and he wants the Red Skull, and he wants everything. And he and Rogue have a conversation, and he basically says, hey, give it to me. And Rogue says, no, I don't think so. And they swap a few words, and Captain America talks about national security and how she needs to do it, and she says no. And she calls the Human Torch out, and they incinerate the brain, which is kind of a good thing, except it's not really over. But anyway.
No,
don't worry.
Never over.
No, Professor Xavier will turn up in 6 months. So then Steve Rogers takes possession of the Red Skull's body, and well, not his body. He's actually still alive. I don't know how he's alive and awake after brain surgery. Anybody know this? I don't either.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
No, it's a comic book. So
yeah,
anyway,
and he's the Red Skull. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, there's a great line here though. I thought maybe I wrote it down in my notes. What is it? They love being on the team, but they hate seeing Deadpool's butt every day. It was a great line. I believe that is the line verbatim. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyway, so they go to celebrate, and Janet Van Dyne exits pretty quick because she's had enough of these drunken, we're breaking up parties, and she doesn't want any part of it. So everybody else proceeds to get drunk, and Deadpool breaks away, and then Rogue goes after him. And I'm not sure if they're both drunk or not, but they finally confess their feelings for each other, and Rogue gives him a kiss, which is pretty cool. And then she gives him another kiss. And apparently, did you read this?
Mm-hmm.
Does she absorb all the cancer that's inside of him? Is that what she does?
I wasn't clear on that either. I guess.
But whenever she does, and again, this goes back a long time, man. I'd have to do research, and I didn't have time for it this weekend. But she shares a psychic bond with Simon Williams from years ago. And when she does that, she passes out, and Simon Williams shows up to save her and wants Wonder Man, of course, and wants an explanation from Deadpool as to what happened. And Deadpool's like, dude, my name's Bennett, and I ain't in it.
Yeah, what are they still doing with Wonder Man or Simon Williams around? Why is he not dead? He's a useless character.
At times, he has been a good character. He's not being. He can be a good character when written properly, which is why you haven't seen him in a few years, because nobody knows what to do with him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody knows what to do with him, so just kill him and don't bring him back.
I'd rather not kill him. I'd rather just keep him on a shelf till somebody figures out how to use him properly.
Okay. I've never liked Simon Williams, so that's just me.
John Byrne did some good stuff with him in the 80s when he was writing The Avengers. I've seen people do good things with him, but you're right. It's been few and far between.
Yeah.
Most people don't seem to know what to do with him. In the For What It's Worth department, they just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this issue was okay. It was nice seeing Red Skull get what was coming to him.
Yeah. Now we go to, speaking of Red Skull getting what's coming to him, we go to Captain America, Steve Rogers, number 15, which picks up immediately after Uncanny Avengers number 22. And this is Steve Rogers, so this thing's going back and forth in time. And after Uncanny Avengers 22, the Red Skull's been freed by Sin and Captain America, and he escapes, and he's ready to have a long conversation with Steve Rogers. And now we're back in 1945, and the Skull is got, again, in both time periods, he and Steve Rogers are talking, both in 1945 and in 2017. And in 1945, he's explaining to Steve Rogers that Hydra is broken and he's the one who's going to take control of it, and but simply by force of will. And Steve Rogers, Captain America, isn't exactly happy with that. Then we come back to the present day, where Hydra has taken over the government of Sokovia, and with it, they've gotten I believe it's 7 nuclear warheads and 7 missiles that they have, and the Skull is threatening the world powers with it. What he basically wants is the world to recognize the government of Sokovia as a world government, much like Latveria is. And while this is happening, Cap is reporting the Skull, and the Skull's pretty ticked because he's wanting to know how exactly all of this happened. How did Captain America's Avengers team catch him and get Xavier's brain away from him? How is it Captain? It was Rogers' team that are the ones who defeated him, and Rogers, I don't control everything, and that's when they start fighting. He and the Skull start fighting. Meanwhile, Sharon Carter, who's in control of S.H.I.E.L.D., or second in command of S.H.I.E.L.D., when Steve isn't around, is talking to the World Security Council, and they're wanting an explanation on the mess in Sokovia, and they don't want to be drug into it. They don't want S.H.I.E.L.D. drug into this mess in Sokovia, and Sharon doesn't really care what they think about the Sokovia mess. So let's stop here for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these balls in the air. And they've Nick Spencer has kind of sown seeds, but we haven't really seen them all together. You got that interplanetary defense shield. When was that? Last issue, 2 issues ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Where they got it up and tested it. And then you got the Badoon, not the Badoon, the Chitauri eggs.
Chitauri.
That are sitting on that dude's farm. And at some point, those are the queen eggs. So at some point, the Chitauri are going to come after the queen eggs. You would assume. Right? Because that's why they're there, because they're the queen eggs.
Well, that's what the point of the shield is for.
Right. To keep the Chitauri out. Right?
Right.
Okay. So now you've got you've got the Red Skull and Sokovia happening. And it seems like all of these things are happening at the same time. Just seems like it. Yeah. Or they're all coming to a head at the same time.
Right. That's an interesting little coincidence, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah.
Right about the same time that Bucky and Kobik are having problems, and Cap decides it's time to finish his fight with the Red Skull, and he throws him out a window, and the Red Skull falls a few stories and lands on some rocks in kind of a mangled mess there. And as he lands, his body's just kind of just there and mangled. And Cap walks into the other room where Crossbones and Sin are, and you expect, particularly Crossbones, who's one of his arch enemies, to lay into him. Instead, they just say, "Hey, Hail Hydra!
Yeah,
let's get on with this."
Yeah.
And
it's really appropriate, I think, because the Red Skull has not acted like the leader that he should have been. He's been playing games as Charles Xavier, or with Charles Xavier's brain, and he's not really taking the cause seriously. So yeah, I could understand why you take him off the board.
Right. Then we go back to 1945, where a disgruntled Cap is really just fed up with this whole thing. He's fed up with the Nazis. He's fed up with the war. He's fed up with the Red Skull, and he just wants to walk away. And Elsa is, of course, there to calm him down again, and shows him or tells him that the Allies, the United States, England, Russia, are developing a super weapon, which instead of a cosmic bomb, an atomic bomb is a cosmic cube. Which, that's interesting, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this issue, and Yeah.
It wasn't the strongest Captain America issue, but I feel like we're really just kind of tying up loose ends moving into Secret Empire.
Oh, we definitely are.
Yeah.
We're there. Dude, it's 2 weeks away from today.
Yeah.
We got next week and then the week after it comes out.
Are we
And as
getting
I
that
said,
Zero issue?
yeah, we get the Zero issue,
Are you sure?
which is, well, we get the Zero issue. Here's what it is. It's the Zero issue, which is half the fight. Then it's Free Comic Book Day, which is the second half of the fight. I don't know if we're getting Free Comic Book Day. And then you get issue number 1, which picks up the story.
Right, but you need that Free Comic Book Day issue, otherwise it doesn't make any sense, right?
It makes no sense whatsoever if you don't get the Free Comic Book Day issue.
Yeah, let's hope that works out.
One way or the other, it'll work out for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to our Spider-Man books this week, we start with Spider-Man number 15. So after the dimension hopping adventure with Spider-Gwen, Miles and Jefferson have returned home and they're hungry. So they use a payphone because in this timeline they still have payphones.
Hey, let me stop you right there. I'm watching The Matrix the other day. I just, some days I'm just bored at lunch. I know I'm completely interrupting you, but hey, my head doesn't hurt anymore. All right, let's go with that.
Okay.
All right, I'm stoned and I can't feel my body, and I'm completely rambling, but my head doesn't hurt anymore. All right, so I'm watching The Matrix the other day, and I'm thinking if they needed a payphone or a landline to get back out of the Matrix these days, they'd just be completely screwed. Okay,
Yeah, man.
They'd be shafted. Okay, I don't know.
Dude,
they'd be stuck here forever.
It's an 18-year-old movie. What are you gonna do?
I know they'd be shafted, man. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That movie's going to college soon, so
yeah.
Anyway, shows you the difference of what things were like 20 years ago.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So they leave a message for Miles' mom saying, "Hey, we're fine. We'll be home soon." And then they go get burgers and talk about how Miles and Gwen might be a thing. They finally decide to go home. They sneak into the house where they're confronted by, I don't know, Miss Morales. And she's like, "Listen, where you guys been?" And, been worrying. And, oh, by the way, I found this piece of paper. It has a bunch of math equations on it, and it's labeled web fluid. So I know you're working for S.H.I.E.L.D. again. I guess that much. Don't know why you were hiding it from me. And then you, Miles, explain this to me. So both of them have to confess, "Hey, I'm working for S.H.I.E.L.D. again." And Miles has to reveal himself as Spider-Man.
See, this is when you have two options. You tell the truth or you lie. He chose to tell the truth.
Well, it's his mother, and that's probably the best course. However, it really doesn't go well, and you get the impression that she's way more upset with her husband than she is Miles. She's upset with both of them, and she's going to go stay with her mom for a while. But this could be a change in the family dynamic for Spider-Man. And then we have the setup of like how Miles, like we saw Miles retelling the story to his roommates in the previous issues. This shows how they got to that point. It was all right. It was a pretty good issue. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was okay.
So, did you read Spider-Man Deadpool 16?
No.
Here's where this book is. Part of me says it's a train wreck and it's a disaster. The other part of me says it's so stupid, it's funny. And I don't, what's the word for that kind of comedy? It's the old Benny Hill comedy.
What, slapstick?
It's not slapstick. Well, maybe. But it just reaches a point of ridiculous where you have to laugh at it. And I'm not even going to bother recapping some of this. I mean, you still got the Mercs for Money fighting up there in New York, and they're fighting Gorilla Man, and Gorilla Man's fighting them, and they're fighting Shakira, and so Spider-Man and the Last Van Helsing and Deadpool have made it to what they think is Castle Dracula, but they can't seem to find where he is. So Deadpool goes to the bathroom to take a dump. And when he flushes it, he goes down a tube to the basement. So Spider-Man, or he doesn't come back for a while, and Spider-Man pulls the tube, then he winds up in the basement. Then we go back to, where the Mercs are still fighting. And then Spider-Man finds Deadpool sitting there looking at Dracula, who is sitting in his white underwear with pink hearts on it, which happens to be the same underwear that Deadpool wears, playing video games. There you go. Actually, got a pretty nice setup, man. It's like 3 monitors, a big PC, good controllers. Yeah, it's good. About that time, the Van Helsing girl shows up. And they kind of fight. And instead of fighting, they decide that they'll settle it by playing a video game. I wish I was making this up. I think it's basically supposed to be Street Fighter. Because one of them chooses Dracula, one of them chooses Deadpool, and one of them chooses Spider-Man. So there you go. And if they win, Dracula goes and helps them. Or if Dracula wins, let me think. If Dracula wins, he gets to kill the Van Helsing girl and make her a vampire. And if the Van Helsing girl wins, Dracula goes and helps him. And of course, the Van Helsing girl wins, so Dracula has to go and help him. And I don't even care about the rest of the issue.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Like a book. That sounds like a book is what you're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. As I said, it's at some point, it's just, you get Dracula sitting there in his underwear playing the Van Helsing girl in a video game for the, basically the fate of the world hanging in the balance.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
We should move on to the X-Men books, which are actually pretty good, I thought. We'll start with All New Wolverine number 19. New writer now. Tom Taylor is our new writer. Art is the same. So this is part 1 of a 3-part story. Laura Kinney and Gabby are on a stealth mission attempting to take down some sort of crime boss. When some kind of asteroid or meteor enters Earth's atmosphere and basically exposes their whole it causes a bunch of light. They're doing this at night, and there's a bunch of light, and it exposes them, and they get shot up. So this asteroid crash lands in New York, and it turns out it's not actually an asteroid, it's an alien space pod, and inside is an alien child who, upon opening the pod, utters the name of Laura Kinney and then dies. And we find out it didn't just die, it brought a disease with it. So now the entire island and maybe all of New York is infected with some sort of alien virus, and they've got a real crisis on their hands. And it has something to do with Laura Kinney.
Yeah.
Or something.
I enjoyed this.
It was okay.
I didn't say I loved it. I said I enjoyed it. I liked that they changed up Laura Kinney's costume into the X-Force costume.
Yeah, they gave her some bulletproof padding on Gabby's idea, because somehow just because you don't die from being shot doesn't mean you're bulletproof.
Which I thought was a entertaining little exchange between the two of them. They gave Gabby a cool little costume. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little book.
Yeah, it was okay. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Then we have X-Men Gold number 1. The X-Men relaunch will have Blue, next week after, something like that?
Yes. Blue will come out next week. I've got all those dates gathered up. when all these books will be coming out. I simply don't have them posted on the website yet. It's literally a matter of just taking them and transferring them from one page to the website. It took me about 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes I didn't have when I was reading the Thanos Imperative.
Yeah, so this is essentially your main X-Men title. This is the Kitty Pryde team with Old Man Logan, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Rachel Gray, who goes by Prestige now. And we pretty much open with the X-Men saving the city from, who is this, Terrax?
Oh yeah, not Terrax the Tiller. No.
No, last we saw Terrax, he was Terrax the Tiller on the Fin Fang farm, raising purple chickens.
Yep. Nope. Now he's Terrax the Titan. Terrax now he's the bad dude again. He's supposed to be.
Yeah. So he's wreaking havoc in New York. And we actually get to see the team in action, and we see what kind of leader, name's gone, Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde.
We see what kind of leader she can be in the field. And it turns out she's actually pretty effective at it. She's a really good field leader for the X-Men, because they deal with Terrax pretty handily. Then afterwards, she, of course, having gathered a crowd of people watching, gives a big speech about how, maybe things haven't been great for us in the past, but we're the new X-Men and we're here to save you and stuff like that. I don't think it went really well. There seems to be a lot of prejudice against mutants these days. Maybe even more so than in the past. Back at the mansion, they're playing baseball because that's what X-Men do now.
That's what they've always done.
Yeah. They get approached by a lawyer from the city who basically hands Kitty a bill for her rent, and it's like $18 million because they're in Central Park.
I think we joked about that last week, about how much that would cost, and I really didn't know this was coming, but
yeah. Yeah, the city attorney or whoever he is just like, yeah, this is the most expensive real estate on the planet, so yeah, 3 months rent is going to cost you 18 million. Sorry. Storm and Nightcrawler have a little conversation about the future of the team. Rachel Gray and some of the others are training in the Danger Room. There's a little scene between Kitty and Colossus. Then they have to go save the United Nations headquarters from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and that'll be interesting. That'll pick up in issue 2.
Sparky has arrived, and he likes X-Men Gold #1.
Yeah, he does. Then at the back of the issue, you basically get a history of the X-Men leading up to today,
which was actually pretty good if you have time to read it.
Yeah, if you have time to read it or care to read it, it's worth reading if you need a little refresher on who all these characters are and why they matter. Yes.
Now then, I have not had time to post it yet. I've already discussed the reasons. Adrian Saif is the writer on this. Magnificent art. Excuse me, the artist. I'm sorry. Magnificent art. Love the art. He's going to do issues 1, 2, and 3. Unfortunately, he's been fired.
Yeah, after
literally as soon as this issue hits stands, 2 days after it hits stands, he was fired. If you go back to the crowd scene where Kitty is addressing the crowd, I will put the original artwork up there, which was published and quickly removed. There's a billboard hanging above the street. There's a couple of people wearing T-shirts. If you see Colossus, where Colossus is playing baseball, he's got it. And what he basically did is took some scriptures, passages from the Quran, some other words, some other numbers, and I'm not even going to try and talk about it because I'm going to butcher it, but it had to do with an election in Jordan. Is that right? Sean, help me out here.
I believe so.
I believe it was Jordan. And with who was elected and who wasn't, and it was anti-Semitism. And I'm going to put the article up there because if I get too far in this, I'm going to butcher it. But it was basically a lot of anti-Semitic references that he put in there numerically with letters and numerically. And it didn't make any sense to us, but it would be the equivalent of putting up John 3:16 or something like that very blatantly all over the book. And people in the Middle East instantly saw it, instantly knew what it was, and emailed Marvel, tweeted Marvel, and said, "Hey, why are you letting this guy do this?"
Yeah, and I'm sure the editors didn't even know. I mean,
no, they had no idea.
Right. Like they, it was essentially subliminal.
Right.
And they had no idea. And artists do this all the time, put little nods and references into their art, especially in the background. So
yeah, and here's the thing. Until I was really kind of researching this, he had done this before. He had done it some in the Batgirl that he had drawn before. He'd done it in some previous work, and nobody even knew it. Nobody.
Yeah, until this happened.
Right.
Looked and were like, "Oh, this is not the first time he's done this. It's just the first time he's been caught."
Right. People got to looking at his work and
yeah. So first of all, if you have that physical issue, you have what is probably the first modern comic book to actually be worth more than its cover price. And yeah, that dude got fired, which sucks because he was actually a really good artist, but you can't do that. Sorry.
His career is over, man. I mean, it's
yeah, he's not going to work in the industry again.
It's done. And I mean, part of me actually feels sorry for him because he was a really, really talented artist.
He might find some work somewhere, but probably not at one of the major publishers.
Yeah. Our next book is the Inhumans book of the week, which is Royals #1. And I enjoyed this some. It was actually better than Inhumans Prime, which is not saying much. The art was good. The art was done by, who did the art in this? John Boy Myers, which I think of a better name, but anyway, and I enjoyed the art. The story begins 5,000 years in the future, where Black Bolt is explaining why he is the last Inhuman. Then we come back to the present, where the last cocoon is I guess hatching, for lack of a better term. I never followed Inhumans enough to care. It's not going well because essentially it's a giant dragon, I guess. Monster. I don't know what you call that. But they're having to get it under control, which they do. Then they go back to where Marvel Boy is meeting with the leadership of the Inhumans, the Royal Family, ISO, etc. And he's convincing them that they need to go to Hala for Terrigen crystals. And they say, "Hey, you realize that the planet Hala is destroyed and there's nothing there but rubble." And he's like, "Sure." So they get volunteers to go, and Medusa's going, and Gorgon's going, and a few others, total of 7 of them. And then they all start saying their goodbyes, and there's a few revelations while they say their goodbye. Did you read this?
No. You know how we all know how I feel about the Inhumans.
Do you have it open?
No.
Norvell, Marvel Boy, seems to have the supreme intelligence in a jar in his room and is taking it back to Hala with him. I mean, it's dude, it's like he's carrying the supreme intelligence around in this jar. I can't.
Is this the end of the issue?
No, it's on page 17. I mean, maybe that's somebody else, but it sure does look like the supreme intelligence.
No, that's the supreme intelligence.
Yeah, dude. I guess he's taking it back to Hala. I don't know what he's doing.
Hala doesn't exist.
Well, it does. It's just rubble. I mean, they're trying to explain that to him earlier in the issue, that there's nothing there, that it's a dead planet, and he insists they can get Terrigen mist there, and I think he just wants to get the supreme intelligence there for some reason. Black Bolt and Medusa aren't communicating. I would say they're not talking, but They don't talk, they communicate. They're not communicating, and Medusa's dying. So there you go.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I don't know. That's beautiful last page too. It's the last page where he said,
Actually, the art is really good.
yeah, I mean look at page 21, man. I mean that's it's where she says she's dying, and that's a really good page there. I really did enjoy the art in this book.
Yeah, it was just from glancing at it, it looks really good. I may actually go back and read this.
It's really a good book. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying great, but between the art and kind of some of the little mysteries that they teased along the way, it made it a good book.
Okay. Tell you what else was a good book was Avengers #6. So this is pretty much the wrap up issue for this Kang War story. Pardon me. And they've essentially Future Vision and modern day Vision have picked up Avengers throughout time and are assaulting Kang's strongholds through all of time. The one they're working on right now is at some point during his time as he was Ramatut in Egypt, Pharaoh Ramatut. He stockpiled really powerful weapons in a pyramid, and currently they're trying to destroy that cache of weapons so that they can cripple him in the future. However, while that's going on, modern day Vision and Future Vision are having a conversation, and they're talking about the difference between the various Kangs and what really separates the versions of Kang, whether they be the Crimson. What is he?
The Scarlet.
Yeah, the Scarlet Centurion, not the Crimson
Thank you.
Centurion.
Yeah,
the Scarlet Centurion, Immortus, Kang the Conqueror, Ramatut. It's revealed in this issue that at some point he's Doctor Doom. And they're having a conversation on, these are all the same person, just different versions. And Future Kang says, and he uses the thesis paradox, which is, if you have a boat and you replace all the planks on the boat, is it still the same boat?
I thought that was Future Vision talking to our current Vision.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said Future Kang. I'm sorry.
No. They're discussing the future of the differences between the Kangs. They're talking to each other.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's if every piece of something such as his synthezoid body has been replaced over time, is it truly the same object? And current Vision says your brain patterns are based on Simon Williams and always will be. And Future Vision just looks at him. And modern Vision says they will, won't they? And then they go back to the Avengers fighting Kang in the past. So now that they've defeated Kang in the past, they have to continue to defeat him in the future. That's not going really well. Through various methods, they're able to capture Kang in this kind of like, I don't know, it's like a ball that controls time. I don't know what it is. It was literally a Deus Ex Machina. Oh, we found a machine that will help us do the thing we need, and now Kang has been captured. But yeah, Kang's essentially erasing all of them throughout time, and Hank Pym is able to get this device and capture Kang within it, essentially sealing him away in his own frozen time frame. So yeah, except that has some repercussions, and we see that there's something to do with Avenger X. I don't know who Avenger X is.
Dude, you remember that horrible .1 story that we just finished last week?
I try not to, but yeah.
5 issues. Avengers X was the villain in that thing.
Oh. And maybe that's why they were publishing it.
When I saw that door, I assumed that that's why they did it.
Well, it's a grave.
Is it a tomb? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forget what you call those above ground. There's a
It's a
word for it.
mausoleum.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mausoleum in the basement of Avengers Mansion. Is essentially what it is.
And I can't spoil this because I don't even know what it is, but somehow in Marvel Legacy, they're screwing around with the Avengers timeline and past to create a new Avenger.
Okay.
In the past.
All right. Anyway, it was a lackluster wrap up to what's been a really good series.
I thought it was a pretty good wrap up.
It was okay.
Okay. You're a big fan of this book, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like Mark Waid. I really enjoyed Mike Del Mundo's art. I hope he continues on this book. And it was a good Kang story. We don't get a ton of really good Kang stories, and this was one of them.
Yeah.
Tell you what was a total dumpster fire was America #2. At the top of the show, we said there were no really bad books. This is maybe the exception.
I just thought it was me that I had trouble with this book.
I don't even know what this book is. I have no idea, and I think it's the writing and who this is really geared towards, and it's certainly not me. But this book sucks.
Yeah, she's a great character,
and this is not what I thought this was going to be.
No, it's kind of like she goes to college and
she goes to transdimensional college and gets a homework assignment to go hang out in World War II with Peggy Carter. Just Hitler in the face, and her and Peggy Carter fight some Nazis, and then she comes home and she's all depressed about breaking up with her girlfriend, and then she has to save some freshmen from something, I don't know.
The then freshmen turn out to be evil robots, and
then Moon Girl's there to do a speaking engagement. I don't know, man. It's America Chavez at Space College. I don't know. And it's full of all this kind of references to like millennial things, but it seems really out of touch. And it's used incorrectly. I forget what the name of that movie is, but it's like the scene in that movie where Steve Buscemi shows up at a high school with a skateboard and a backwards hat. And he's like, "Hello, my fellow kids," like he's trying to fit in. That's what this is like. This book sucks, and I hope it gets canceled.
Well, okay. I wouldn't be that strongly about it. I hope it improves. How about that?
The way you can improve it is cancel it and relaunch it as a real comic book and not whatever this garbage is.
Okay, Bullseye #3. So Bullseye is in Central America chasing the let me find my notes because I do this better with my notes. What's the name of this gang? Oh shoot, I was on my notes. Yeah, that's what happens when you're not in control. Bullseye is still trying to liberate the mafia leader's son from the Black Knife Cartel. That's what they're called. They're in Colombia. And he allows them to capture him, which is Tidor Zarco. And the FBI is still hunting him, which is Joy Jones. And when they capture him, dude, I don't even know where he's got the bottle cap hidden, because he spends what appears to be a couple of minutes coughing it up. I don't know if he's got it under his tongue, if he swallowed the thing and then has to vomit it up, but somewhere he comes up with a metal bottle cap. And because it takes him quite a few moments to laugh, cough, get the thing up from his digestive system. And he spits and ricochets it around the room until it breaks the chair that he's sitting in. And at that point, the fight's on. He starts fighting the bad guys, breaks himself free. That FBI agent, Joy Jones, is still trying to capture him. And that becomes a fiasco because they're trying to capture him. He's trying to capture the Black Knife gang, who's got this kid what's the kid's name? Fabian, who's the mobster son that he wants to set free. It's one giant chase, and Bullseye finally captures the kid, and then the kid puts a bullet in him, the one he's trying to free. So somehow that didn't work out for Bullseye. It wasn't a bad issue. Yeah, it's just your basic Punisher comic book.
It's not a Punisher comic
book.
Oh,
it's not, is it?
No.
Oh, well, okay then. Punisher, Bullseye, same thing.
Okay, are we talking about Punisher or Bullseye?
Bullseye.
Was that a recap of Punisher or Bullseye?
It was Bullseye. It was a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, that totally went over my head. I got really confused for a second.
As I said, it's your basic Punisher comic book. Keep up.
Okay. All right.
Lots of mayhem, high body count, lots of stabbing and shooting. What's that sound like?
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. I didn't read it, so
Yeah. Unless you want to Punisher comic book, you didn't miss a lot.
Okay. Tell you what else you didn't miss a lot of is Champions #7.
Now, I disagree there. I was looking forward to the return of this. What's this group called that they're fighting?
I don't know, but they're essentially D-list no-name heroes that are kicking people out of their homes for a development company in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but they're making them into the Champions' arch enemies, and that's kind of entertaining.
Okay. Well, so that's going on. This development company's hired these D-list villains who nobody cares about to evict all these people.
I care about them. I'm not a nobody. I care about them.
Okay, fine. The Champions swoop in and they get into a little bit of a fight, but essentially they talk them into not, to giving up their contract. And then there's a big twist at the end where it turns out, oh, hey, all this development, well, it's for Champions Towers because we've copyrighted your logo and we're gonna do all this in your name and stuff.
The freelancers.
Okay. This book started out real strong, and 7 issues in, I don't know.
Okay, I enjoyed it.
It was okay.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand.
This is the freelancers that they found in that Marvel. Unlimited.
No, I understand who they are. It's that I don't understand what the point of this team is. It's just a bunch of dumb ideals about being independent and helping the world, and they're not actually doing that. As is demonstrated at the end of the book when they're like, look, here in the real world, you copyright your logo and do these things and that thing. And yeah, it's just a bunch of airheaded teenagers thinking they're doing something.
Isn't that what I'm choosing my words carefully here? Isn't that what airheaded teenagers who lean toward the progressive side do?
No.
Okay. Hawkeye #5. We said there were good books this week, but holy cow, we're dumping on them.
Yeah, we are.
Because Hawkeye #5, man, I didn't think you could screw up a book with Jessica Jones in it, but somehow they managed to do it.
Yeah, this is another one of those books that's not been great.
Because they got dude, they kind of interrogate him some and threaten him some. I don't even care what Duder's name is. They threaten him, and then he goes, and they follow him to this Hollywood party, and Kate Bishop proves that she's Hawkeye to get in, and basically nothing happens there. And I guess dude turns into a dragon. Is that what happens?
I have no idea. I didn't bother to read it.
You didn't miss anything. I mean, suddenly a dragon jumps out of the closet. A dragon. We're talking,
a dragon. Yeah.
Daenerys riding dragon. Okay. comes out of the closet and flies away, and they're just sitting there looking at the dragon. And there you go. That's the book. I have no idea what just happened.
Okay. Well, in Iron Fist #2, I actually do know what happened. And this book's actually pretty decent. I was on the edge of it for the first issue, but this second issue was actually pretty good, I thought.
You know, this didn't make the cut for me to have time to read, and I really want to go back and read it because I really enjoyed the first issue.
So at the end of the first issue, Danny Rand runs into this guy who says, "Hey, I can help you get your chi back and reassert yourself as the Iron Fist. Just come fight in this tournament." Well, he gets to the island and he's going to fight in this tournament, and it turns out on this island there's these 7 temples, and all of them are dedicated to different styles of kung fu, and all of them have chosen champions to fight against Danny Rand in order to see who's the best at kung fu, essentially. So Danny's going to have to fight all of these champions, and what he gets to do is, if he defeats those champions, he absorbs their chi and is able to become fully fledged Iron Fist again. What we find out in this book, and what Danny Rand does not know, is that it's a scheme. Their intention is to supplant Kunlun as one of the holy cities. Their intention is to take this island and put it in the place of Kunlun as some sort of revenge against Kunlun. And the ending is him fighting the first champion, and he's the master of the rat of the 12 plagues, and dude's creepy, as you'll see if you read the end of this. It was really good. The art's good. It's the same dude who was doing that Carnage book a few months back. As someone who's not a huge Iron Fist fan, I enjoyed this quite a bit, actually.
That's cool. I'm making notes so I don't forget something.
Yeah, I was going to say, go back and read that because it's worth reading.
That brings us to Nova #5. And I forget if we discussed this at the top of the show or if we discussed this. I don't know where we discussed it. So, in the quest to find his dad's helmet, Sam Alexander accumulated 2 or 3 helmets. And at the end of last issue, his sister picked one up. And it looks like she's been attacked by a monster. What she's really been attacked by is the Cancerverse. And we learned that later in the issue. And it's kind of wreaking havoc there at his home. Sam's mom attacks it. That doesn't work out very well. Finally, Sam goes and gets his helmet and starts trying to defeat the monster. Doesn't work very well. Rich Rider finally shows up, and if you look at there in the panels of Page, and we've talked about this recently in the What's Next podcast about the Thanos imperative and how he gets in and out of Cancerverse and what this thing is there on page 10, you see Rich Rider actually kind of change into his color changes and his face changes to what looks like a zombie. And he's done this several times in these 5 issues. That's where he's changing into a creature that exists in the Cancerverse. So he tells Sam how to defeat this thing, how to get his sister out, how to defeat this thing. And they basically do. And, Sam gets his sister back. And that's when Rich confesses to Sam that, he ain't right. He should have died. And basically, he should have stayed in the Cancerverse. He should have died there. He should have stayed there, but he didn't. And Sam gets kind of angry because he feels like Rich let him down. And Rich drugged this monster back with him, which he did, because the monster escaped from the Cancerverse. And Rich is basically a doorway into the Cancerverse. And what Rich decided to do is, at the end of the issue, is just open the doorway into the Cancerverse And by the way, they're on page 16, the lower right hand panel. That's a creepy drawing, and it's a I'll let you figure out what you think it looks like, and it's in a couple other pages.
What page did you say?
16. I'll let you figure out what you think it looks like. It's a couple other pages too. Rich just decides he's going to jump into the Cancerverse and close it up behind him.
Yeah, some sort of tentacle thing.
Yeah, it's not that. It's the white part. So he talks to Sam, and he's just going to sacrifice himself a second time and jump into the Cancerverse and make the sacrifice. And he does. But when he gets in there, it doesn't exactly work out for him, because what he finds is that the Cancerverse has been taken over by the World Mind, or the World Mind has taken over the Cancerverse, or the other.
It's become corrupted.
Yeah. One has corrupted the other. I'm not sure which. Yeah, it's a mess. And I don't know where the Cosmic Cube went.
Last I checked, it was on Earth parading around as a 4-year-old girl.
Yeah, but they had one there too.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one they had that he and Peter Quill and Drax and Thanos had.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on to our Star Wars books this week. We only had the one, Star Wars number 30. This is, I think, the last issue of this Yoda's Secret War story. Luke comes to the planet that Yoda was on previously. Now all the kids have grown up, and they're determined to finish this fight with the mountain, this blue mountain or whatever. Yoda shows off his skills. And essentially what was going on was this planet had been inhabited by these rock creatures, and then the humans went to war with them and took over the planet. When these rock people essentially became the mountains, and Yoda helped the mountain people reassert themselves. So Luke and this kid that Yoda trained on the planet years ago come to blows. If you've enjoyed this story, great. If not, I haven't either. So yeah. It looks like in the next issue, Luke's going to team up with Dr. Aphra, which will be interesting.
That should be good.
Yeah, it'll be better than this crappy Yoda story. That I still don't understand the point of. It's gone on way too long, and I'm glad it's over. I think it's over.
You're hoping it's over.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's, it's okay. It's just, I don't know. I thought we were getting a decent Yoda story, and we didn't. It was about him training some kids who were mad about the mountain. I don't know. I didn't understand any of it.
Why would you be mad at the mountain?
I don't know. None of it. Have you read any of this?
No. You've said it was bad, and I didn't waste my time.
It doesn't make any sense. And if somebody can please tell Jason Aaron where to find his talent, I'd be appreciative. Because his writing has not been, his writing's been off lately.
That's bad.
Not just in Star Wars. Thor, everything he's writing is subpar.
Okay.
Anyway, what was your favorite book this week?
X-Men Go.
Yep, me too.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was easily the best thing. I almost said Avengers number 6, but X-Men Gold was easily the best book this week.
And by the way, I was just looking this up on my phone while we were talking. There are, first off, in the alternate covers, there are 2 Scotty Young covers this week, which we don't usually get. There's a very funny, all the way through X-Men Gold, and I think it continues throughout the series. Old Man Logan is wearing a duster. So somebody put him in a trench coat, basically, a duster.
Mm-hmm.
And Scotty Young just decided to make fun of it. So Kitty Pryde and all the X-Men are reading a list of reasons that that they don't like the Duster. It's a pretty funny alternate cover, man. It's good.
That's
I got
funny.
a kick out of it. It was funny.
His work, especially here lately, has gotten really good. I'll keep up with him on Instagram, and he posts art on there all the time.
Right.
And it's got this sort of childish quality and always has, but here lately it's taken on this sort of, like, I don't know, it's taken on this sort of vibe where it's almost so childish it's creepy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It becomes a little unnerving, and I'm really enjoying it. His art is so good.
Yeah, there's some and here's the thing, whenever Marvel does these you have to buy more and more books to get different alternate covers.
Right.
Scotty Young is the one that's always hanging out there. You know,
Yeah, everyone wants his covers.
Right. It's like 10 books to get this, 50 books to get this one, 100 books to get that one. His is the one you got to buy like 500 copies of to get the Scotty Young book. His is the one that's hanging way out there.
Yeah, it's always the one that's most desired. And that's probably why his original art is as expensive as it is.
I wouldn't doubt it in the least.
Yeah. I saw one time he was selling original art at a convention, and I wasn't there, but I saw what he was charging for it. Dude, you're talking $300 for like a sketch.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no. I mean, that dude's making money. And he should be. He's incredibly talented.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the dump this week, we had Cable series number 1, written by Jeff Loeb. So if you've been waiting for some Cable books, there you go. Really good ones, considering they're written by Jeff Loeb. You have some Roy Thomas Doctor Strange from the late 80s, which is also going to be your classic read this week, along with one Marvel team-up book.
One issue. Come on, man. One issue.
One.
One.
Single. Uno.
They're coming. They're teasing me, but they're very slowly putting them out there.
Yeah, it's a slow trickle.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, that Doctor Strange stuff is actually pretty good. So that's going to be your classic read this week. Please also check out our show, What's Next. We actually have a new episode this week dealing with the Thanos Imperative, which ties into Nova and a bunch of other stuff going on. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. Please visit the website.
We've just discussed the alternate covers, other things that are on the website, www.6monthsbehind.com.
Fantastic. That'll wrap us up for this week. But before we go, as always, do you have any wisdom for our true believers?
The next time you want to ask one of those questions, not just any question, but one of those questions, I want you to take a moment and look deep into my eyes and ask yourself, does he really care?
All righty then. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.